Eli had always been ordinary. Not slow, not weak, but not special either. He worked as a junior engineer at the bustling Zenith spaceport, a place where massive ships from all over the galaxy docked and unloaded. People often overlooked him, thinking he was just another human in the crowd. But today, his life was about to change. It started with a loud explosion near Docking Bay 7. The sound was deafening, echoing across the steel corridors. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and the crowd scattered. Eli, who was repairing a cargo loader nearby, instinctively looked toward the source. A cargo shuttle had gone out of control. Smoke poured from its engines and it tilted dangerously. People screamed. Some ran for safety, others froze, staring in shock. But Eli didn't think. He ran, he ducked under falling debris, his heart pounding. In the chaos, he saw an old man trapped beneath a twisted metal panel. The man's eyes widened with fear. "Help!" "Please," he croaked. Eli's mind worked quickly. He grabbed a piece of loose piping and used it as leverage to lift the metal. Sweat poured down his face as he pulled with all his strength. The crowd cheered, but Eli didn't hear them. His only focus was saving the man. Finally, the old man rolled free, coughing but alive. Eli supported him as they staggered away from the wreckage. "Thank you." "Young man," the old man gasped. You saved my life." Eli nodded, brushing dust from his clothes. "Just glad you're safe," he said, trying to sound calm though his heart still raced. People around them were whispering, pointing, and taking pictures. A security officer ran up. "Are you okay, sir?" she asked the old man. "I'm fine." "Thanks to this young man," the old man replied. Eli stepped back, suddenly feeling exposed. He wasn't used to attention. He wanted to disappear into the crowd, to go back to his normal, quiet life. But then he noticed something strange. From the corner of his eye, he saw movement, a figure slipping away behind a row of cargo containers. At first, he thought it was just someone avoiding the chaos. But there was something unusual about the way they moved. Careful, precise, almost floating. He squinted, trying to see. The figure vanished before he could get a clear look. He shook his head. "Must be my imagination," he muttered. Meanwhile, high above the port in the observation deck, a young alien woman watched. Princess Lyra, heir to the Aurelian throne, had come to Earth disguised as a civilian. She wanted to see humans up close, to understand them without her royal guards influencing her view. She had been near Docking Bay 7 when the shuttle began to fail. Her attention was drawn to the chaos. But before she could react, a sudden distraction, an unusual alarm in a hidden sector of the port, pulled her away. By the time she looked back, the shuttle had crashed and she had disappeared from sight unnoticed. Back at the scene, Eli helped the old man to a bench. "Do you need medical attention?" he asked. The old man shook his head. "No, I'm fine. But you are brave. Most people would have just watched." Eli felt a strange warmth at the words. He didn't consider himself brave. He had just done what felt right. But hearing someone recognize it gave him a strange sense of pride. The crowd was dispersing, security was clearing the wreckage, and the shuttle was being stabilized. Eli started to walk away, thinking the incident was over. But something tugged at him, a feeling he couldn't explain. The shadowy figure he had seen earlier kept coming back to his mind. He turned, scanning the area. Nothing. The port had returned to its normal rhythm. But Eli's instincts told him something was off. He felt a strange pull, like a puzzle piece missing in a game he didn't know he was playing. Meanwhile, Princess Lyra had moved farther away, trying to understand what had triggered the strange alarm she had noticed. She didn't know that her movement had coincided with the shuttle crash. In a way, she had vanished at the exact moment Eli had saved the old man. 2 acts of bravery, one human, one alien, but they had yet to intersect. Back in the busy streets of the spaceport, Eli walked toward the maintenance hangar. He was thinking about the wreck, the old man, and the strange figure. His mind raced with possibilities. Was someone following him? Had the figure been connected to the crash? Eli didn't realize that his actions had caught the attention of other, more secretive observers. A small drone hovered unnoticed above him, recording his every move. Unknown to Eli, the drone was scanning for humans capable of courage, intelligence, and problem-solving under pressure. Traits that were rare in this galaxy but common among Earthlings. As Eli passed a row of cargo containers, he noticed something shiny on the ground. It looked like a small pendant or amulet glowing faintly. He picked it up. Strange symbols shimmered on its surface. He had no idea what it was, but a shiver ran down his spine. Something about it felt important. Probably just a piece of jewelry someone dropped, he muttered to himself, but curiosity gnawed at him. He slipped it into his pocket. The old man he had saved earlier approached him again. "Young man," he said cautiously, "I feel like you were meant to be here. Something important is about to happen, and I think you will play a part in it." Eli laughed nervously. "I think you've got the wrong guy. I'm just lucky, I guess." The old man smiled mysteriously. "Luck has a way of finding the right people, Eli, remember that." Eli frowned. How did the old man know his name? He shook his head and waved goodbye, feeling an odd sense of unease and anticipation. As the sun began to set over the port, casting long shadows across the landing pads, Eli walked home, unaware that the pendant in his pocket was not ordinary. It pulsed faintly, almost as if alive and almost as if it were calling him toward something, or someone. Far above, hidden in the clouds, Princess Lyra observed the human below. She didn't know it yet, but their paths would soon cross. She sensed a unique quality in humans, something that made them capable of surprising courage, intelligence, and determination. Traits that her people often overlooked. Eli reached his small apartment in the residential sector. He set the pendant on the table, still glowing faintly. He stared at it, feeling a strange connection. Something told him that his life had changed forever. He didn't know it yet, but he was no longer just a simple engineer. He had taken the first step toward a story that would span stars, test courage, and reveal the extraordinary potential of humans. And somewhere close by, the alien princess had vanished into the shadows, waiting for fate to bring them together. Eli turned off the lights, but the glow from the pendant lit up the room. Sleep eluded him. He couldn't shake the feeling that something bigger, something important was about to happen. He was right. The galaxy had begun to take notice of Earth's humans, and one ordinary man had already shown he could rise to the occasion. The next morning, Zenith Spaceport was quieter than usual. Docking Bay 7 had been repaired overnight, and the smoke and debris from the crash were gone. Yet a lingering tension filled the air. Rumors of the crash spread quickly, and whispers of missing visitors circulated among the workers. Eli arrived early, carrying a small bag with tools for his morning shift. He was still thinking about the glowing pendant. He had placed it on the table at home, but its faint pulse haunted his thoughts. Something about it seemed alive. He didn't understand why, but he felt drawn to it, as if it was calling him to do something important. As he walked through the port, he noticed heightened security. Alien officers in sleek uniforms were scanning crowds, and several drones hovered silently above. The port was unusually tense, and the news spread that an important visitor had gone missing. The old man Eli had saved yesterday appeared again, walking slowly toward him. "Eli," he said quietly, "you must be careful. Some things are larger than any one person. But you, of all people, might make a difference." Eli frowned. "I don't understand. What's happening? Who's missing?" The old man glanced around, his eyes sharp despite his age. "A princess. From far away. She is in danger. And though you may not see it yet, you are connected." Eli felt a chill. "Me? Connected? I'm just a human. I fixed a shuttle. I saved a man. That's all." The old man shook his head. "Humans often underestimate themselves, but you have traits rare in the galaxy. Courage, quick thinking, and the ability to act when others hesitate. That is why you are noticed." Before Eli could respond, a loud announcement blared over the port speakers. "Attention. All personnel, we are conducting a security sweep. A high-value guest has been reported missing. Please cooperate with officers and remain vigilant." Eli's curiosity pushed him forward. He began noticing small anomalies. Shadows moving where there shouldn't be any. Devices blinking with patterns that seemed almost like messages, and faint disturbances in the air that made the hair on his neck stand up. He paused near a stack of cargo containers, peering into the shadows. That same mysterious figure from yesterday was there, slipping quietly from one container to another. Eli's instinct screamed that it wasn't human. He stepped closer, careful not to make a sound, but the figure vanished again before he could get a clear view. "What the?" he whispered to himself. His pulse quickened. This was no ordinary day at the port. Something big was happening, and he felt pulled toward it, though he didn't yet know why. Meanwhile, in a hidden sector of the port, Princess Lyra was trapped. The rogue faction that had caused the alarm yesterday had taken her. Their goal was simple: destabilize her reign by holding her hostage. She was clever, trained in diplomacy and survival. But these humans and their technology were unpredictable. Even she couldn't foresee everything. Lyra studied her surroundings carefully. She could see the entrance to the sector blocked by automated sentry bots. The air was thick with security measures she had never encountered on her home planet. She knew she needed help, and something told her that humans, especially the one who had saved the old man, might be the key. Back at the port, Eli noticed a strange drone hovering low, almost invisible among the sunlight reflections on the metal surfaces. It wasn't the ordinary patrol drones. This one seemed different. It moved with intelligence, observing him carefully. "Why am I being watched?" Eli muttered under his breath. He didn't feel fear exactly, just an odd mixture of curiosity and resolve. He knew he couldn't ignore it. Humans had a strange habit of noticing patterns others missed. He began to follow it, keeping his distance. The drone led him to a secluded part of the port far from the main traffic. Here the air felt heavy, almost charged. Eli's instincts screamed that something important was nearby. He crouched behind a stack of containers, peering through a gap. There she was, Princess Lyra. She wasn't wearing her royal attire. Her clothes were simple and unassuming, but there was no mistaking her presence. She was trapped, restrained by a force field that pulsed softly with alien energy. Eli could see the frustration and determination in her eyes. He didn't know who she was yet, but he felt an urgent need to help. Humans often acted when others hesitated. Eli knew he could make a difference even without fully understanding the danger. He began examining the perimeter. There were sentry bots, but their patrols were predictable. He noticed wires and panels that looked weak or poorly maintained. His mind raced. Tools and improvisation, his greatest strengths, could turn the odds in his favor. Meanwhile, Lyra's gaze shifted toward the shadows. She sensed something unusual, a human. She couldn't see him clearly, but she felt his presence, and something inside told her he could help. She had underestimated humans before, but there was a spark in them that her people often ignored. An unpredictability, a courage, and a capacity to act without hesitation. Eli carefully moved along the edge of the area, avoiding the sentry bot's line of sight. He found a panel that powered the containment field. With nimble fingers, he jimmied open the panel and studied the circuitry. He didn't recognize the alien tech at first, but his mind worked logically. Patterns, power sources, circuits, he could make sense of them. He worked quietly, improvising with a small set of tools he always carried. Sparks flew and the panel clicked. The containment field flickered but did not fail. Eli adjusted wires and circuits again, carefully testing each connection. Every move required precision and patience. Humans, he realized, often solved problems differently from the predictable patterns of machines. From inside the containment area, Lyra's eyes widened. She had never seen anyone attempt this before. Most aliens would have panicked or waited for reinforcements. But this human, he adapted, thought, and acted. That was unusual, remarkable, and brave. Suddenly, a sensor detected movement and the sentry bots began to adjust. Eli froze for a moment, then acted faster. He remembered a tip from the old man. Observe patterns, then act with confidence. He used a small reflective piece of metal to redirect a laser, confusing the bots. The bots paused, giving him the perfect window. The containment field flickered again. Lyra leaned forward, straining against the force. She whispered almost to herself, "A human. I didn't know humans could." Eli gritted his teeth. His hands were steady, his mind clear. He adjusted a final wire and the field went down with a soft hum. Lyra stepped out cautiously, keeping her eyes on him. "Who are you?" she asked, voice calm but firm. Eli straightened, brushing sweat from his forehead. "I'm Eli. I think you need help." Lyra studied him carefully. She didn't reveal her identity yet. "You've disabled the field. Clever, quick thinking. Not many could do this." Eli shrugged modestly. "I just figured it out. It wasn't impossible." Lyra nodded slowly. She could sense something extraordinary about him, not in strength or skill, but in character. Humans, she realized, were unpredictable in ways her people often underestimated. Courage, intuition, and adaptability. These were their real strengths. The two began to move, cautiously navigating back through the shadows. Sentry bots patrolled nearby, but Eli's ingenuity allowed them to avoid detection. Each step required patience, strategy, and courage. As they reached the edge of the sector, Eli noticed the pendant in his pocket pulsing more strongly. He had almost forgotten it in his focus on freeing Lyra. Now he realized it might be connected to the events unfolding. Somehow it seemed to guide him, or at least resonate with the alien presence nearby. Lyra sensed it too. She didn't know the pendant's purpose, but she felt its energy, a subtle link between them. Between human and alien, between ordinary and extraordinary. Finally, they emerged from the shadows, just as the rogue faction began to realize someone had breached their security. Eli and Lyra sprinted toward a hidden corridor leading to the main port. The pursuit was tense, the danger immediate, but Eli's human ingenuity and Lyra's sharp instincts kept them ahead. For the first time, Eli realized something important. Humans had qualities no machine or alien could predict. Adaptability, courage, and heart. These were traits that could turn the tide, even in a galaxy filled with advanced technology and cunning adversaries. And Lyra, the missing princess, began to understand why humans had earned their reputation, quietly, without fanfare. They were capable of greatness when it mattered most. By the time they reached safety, Eli's heart was pounding. He had acted without thinking of reward, without desire for recognition, yet he had achieved the impossible. And Lyra, she looked at him with newfound respect. She did not yet know his full potential, but she could sense that their meeting was no accident. Eli smiled faintly, catching his breath. "I guess humans can surprise anyone," he said quietly. Lyra nodded, a rare smile touching her lips. "Yes, and I think I'm going to learn a lot from you, Eli." The pendant in his pocket glowed faintly, almost as if acknowledging their teamwork. Eli felt a surge of purpose. Whatever lay ahead, he knew he was ready. The galaxy had started to notice humans, and he had just shown why. The hidden corridor smelled of metal and dust, a narrow path between storage units and maintenance areas. Eli's boots echoed softly as he led Princess Lyra deeper into the spaceport. Neither spoke much. Words felt unnecessary. The tension and urgency were enough. Lyra glanced at him, studying his every movement. "You're calm under pressure," she said softly. Eli shrugged, though he felt no calm at all. "I guess I just focus on what I can control." She raised an eyebrow. "A rare trait. Most of my people panic at the smallest obstacle." Eli grinned faintly, though he didn't relax. "Well, humans are kind of used to figuring things out when nothing goes as planned." They turned a corner and came face to face with a small patrol of sentry bots. Their red sensors glowed, scanning for movement. Eli froze for a second, then remembered a trick from his training. He picked up a small metal rod lying on the floor and tossed it across the corridor. The bot's sensors followed the moving object, and Eli and Lyra slipped by, holding their breath until they were safely out of sight. "Impressive," Lyra said, her eyes wide. "Most people would have triggered an alarm immediately." Eli shook his head. "Just observation. Watch what moves and move differently." The corridor ended at a maintenance hatch leading to the exterior of the port. Eli tested the door. It was locked electronically, with unfamiliar alien symbols flashing across the control panel. He frowned. "Okay, alien tech. Not too different from human circuitry, actually. Just different symbols." Lyra stepped closer. "Do you think you can open it?" Eli examined the panel, noting the flow of energy and connections beneath the surface. He worked quickly, connecting wires, adjusting circuits, and rerouting power. Sparks flew, but he remained steady, thinking clearly. After a tense moment, the lock clicked and the hatch slid open. Lyra's lips curved in a small smile. "I underestimated humans." "You are clever," Eli shrugged. "I just try to figure things out when stuck. That's all." They slipped through the hatch and emerged into a less-traveled section of the spaceport. It was quieter here, dimly lit, with crates and vehicles stacked haphazardly. Eli's eyes scanned constantly, alert for any sign of danger. "Why is this area so empty?" he asked. Lyra frowned. "It is usually reserved for maintenance and secret storage. Only authorized personnel pass through. It is easier to hide and trap someone here." Eli's stomach tightened. "So you were kidnapped?" Lyra nodded. "Yes, I have underestimated humans until now, but you act without hesitation, without fear." They paused as distant noises echoed through the corridors. the faint hum of sentry bots and the soft whir of a drone. Eli crouched behind a crate, motioning for Lyra to do the same. He noticed a pattern in the noises, a rhythm that indicated patrol cycles. "Follow my lead," he whispered. "We can move when the bots turn away. Watch their shadows and keep low." Lyra's eyes widened slightly. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but their instincts. They were sharp even without special training. She followed quietly, her movements precise, trusting his guidance. They moved carefully, weaving between crates, avoiding cameras and slipping past patrols. Eli's mind raced. Every corner, every shadow, every sensor could be a trap. But he thrived under pressure. His mind pieced together the patterns the bots followed, and he predicted their movements before they happened. Suddenly, a section of the corridor opened up into a larger chamber. The walls were lined with alien devices and crates marked with strange symbols. Eli froze. Something here felt important. Lyra's eyes scanned the room. "This is part of their secret operation," she whispered. "They store technology and data here. It is dangerous for anyone to be discovered." Eli nodded. He crouched, moving toward a large console at the far end of the room. Alien technology hummed with energy, and a holographic map of the port appeared in front of him. He didn't understand all the symbols, but patterns and logic were universal. He studied the map, tracing paths and exits. "They're planning something," he murmured. "Look at these patrol routes, they're changing. Whoever runs this operation is preparing for a breach. Or a bigger attack." Lyra's eyes widened. "They seek to destabilize not only my visit, but possibly my entire planet's alliance." You are seeing things even my best officers missed." Eli felt a strange thrill. Humans had a habit of solving problems in ways others couldn't predict. Quick thinking, improvisation, courage under pressure. These were traits that allowed ordinary humans to do extraordinary things. They moved deeper into the chamber, careful to avoid sensors and robotic guards. Eli's intuition guided them, and Lyra followed, impressed by his calm and focus. Then they heard footsteps, fast, deliberate, approaching from the far side of the room. Eli pressed himself against a stack of crates, signaling Lyra to do the same. Two figures appeared carrying alien weapons, their attention on a console. Eli held his breath, calculating his next move. He noticed a loose panel on the floor nearby. With careful timing, he nudged it toward the approaching figures. The panel clattered loudly, drawing their attention. As the figures turned, Eli and Lyra slipped past unnoticed, moving into a narrower passage behind the crates. Lyra looked at him with admiration. "Humans, you think so fast." Eli shrugged modestly. "Sometimes you just have to move before thinking too much. Focus on what you can control." They continued, emerging into an external corridor that led to the upper levels of the port. From here they could see the docking bays below. Lights from ships glimmered, and the hustle of workers filled the air. Eli spotted a maintenance lift that could take them closer to safety. "Let's use that," he said quietly. As they approached the lift, a sudden alert blared from above. Sentry drones hovered into view, their sensors scanning the area. Eli froze for a moment, then noticed a control panel near the lift. He quickly manipulated it, overriding the drone patrol temporarily. The drones paused, giving them a clear path. Lyra's respect for humans grew with every action. "You are remarkable," she whispered. "Your courage, your mind. It is rare." Eli smiled faintly, though his mind remained focused. "I just do what feels right, I guess. Humans can surprise anyone." The lift carried them upward slowly but steadily. From their vantage point, they could see the extent of the spaceport below, the docking bays, the main corridors, and the distant shadows of alien patrols. Eli's eyes scanned carefully, noting possible escape routes. "You are thinking ahead," Lyra observed. "Most would panic or act without planning. Humans are unpredictable in ways my people do not anticipate." Eli nodded. "We adapt. We survive. And sometimes we act without knowing if it will work. But we try anyway." As the lift reached the top level, an unexpected obstacle appeared. A barrier of energy blocked the exit. Lyra's eyes widened. "It is a force field. I do not see a way through without technology from my people." Eli studied it. "Maybe I don't need your technology. Maybe I just need an idea." He looked around, noting the structural supports of the barrier. Using a combination of wires, tools, and leverage, he worked carefully, rerouting a small power source. Sparks flew and the field flickered, then stabilized. Eli adjusted the wiring again. The energy barrier wavered and then disappeared with a soft hum. Lyra stepped forward, amazed. You just disabled it, humans. You truly are clever. Eli shrugged, tired but determined. I just figure things out when I have to. It's what humans do. They moved quickly, exiting the lift area and entering a quieter section of the port. Eli's mind raced. The rogue faction was still out there and they would not give up easily. But for now they had a chance. Lyra glanced at him. I have seen courage before. But this is different. You do not act for glory. You act because it is right, humans. You are extraordinary. Eli felt a warmth at her words. He had never thought of himself as extraordinary. He was just human. But in this moment he realized that being human meant something powerful. Courage, ingenuity, and heart, even in the face of danger. The pendant in his pocket pulsed faintly. Eli felt its energy, a reminder that their journey was far from over. The galaxy was larger, stranger, and more dangerous than he had imagined. But humans had a way of surviving, and sometimes thriving. And as he glanced at Lyra, he realized that their partnership, unexpected, unplanned, might just change the course of events in ways neither could yet predict. The hidden threat was far from over. But humans, Eli thought, had a way of facing the impossible and winning. Eli and Princess Lyra moved quickly through the upper corridors of Zenith Spaceport. The rogue faction's sensors had been temporarily fooled, but Eli knew they wouldn't stay blind for long. Every step counted, every second mattered. Lyra's eyes scanned the surroundings, her hand brushing against her concealed communicator. They will track us soon, she whispered. I fear we are not far from being discovered again. Eli nodded. Then we keep moving and think ahead. Humans survive by adapting. We'll find a way. They turned a corner and found a maintenance shuttle parked and ready. Eli ran toward it, testing the controls. It hummed with power but was unfamiliar to him. He examined the interface quickly, improvising. Patterns, energy flows, circuits, they were different from Earth technology, but the logic was universal. Lyra stepped beside him, her eyes widening. You are extraordinary. I thought humans were limited in skill, but you adapt instantly. Eli shrugged. I just focus. Figure out what works. He pressed a combination of buttons and wires. The shuttle's engine roared to life. It was not fully configured for manual control, but it would carry them away fast enough to avoid detection. As they lifted off, alarms blared across the port. The rogue faction had realized their escape. Sentry drones and automated turrets swiveled toward them, tracking the shuttle. Eli's hands moved with precision, adjusting the controls, rerouting energy to shields and engines. Lyra held on tightly, her eyes fixed on him. You are brave beyond measure, she said softly. Most would have frozen under such pressure. Eli glanced at her. Bravery isn't about not being afraid. It's about acting when you have to, even when fear is there. The shuttle veered sharply to avoid a laser blast from a drone. Sparks flew across the dashboard, but Eli stayed calm. He spotted a narrow service tunnel leading outside the main port, barely wide enough for the shuttle. With careful maneuvering, he guided them through. The drone fire missed by inches. Outside the port, the stars stretched endlessly. Eli breathed in the recycled air, feeling a strange sense of relief. But he knew the danger wasn't over. The rogue faction would regroup, and they had no idea how large the operation was. Lyra finally spoke again. You have saved more than my life, Eli. You have shown courage, intelligence, and quick thinking, qualities my people often overlook in humans. You are remarkable, Eli smiled faintly. I'm just human, that's all. She studied him closely. No, that is exactly it. Humans are unpredictable, clever, and full of heart. That is why I must learn from you and your people. Eli's mind raced. He didn't understand all the politics or alien alliances, but he felt something important. Humans had a place among the stars, not because of technology or armies, but because of their courage, intelligence, and spirit. The shuttle cruised silently through the upper levels of the spaceport's orbital corridors. Below, the rogue faction scrambled, searching for their missing princess, but Eli had already outsmarted them multiple times. Every obstacle they had prepared, every patrol had been anticipated and avoided. Lyra finally spoke again, her voice thoughtful. On my planet, bravery is often measured by strength or rank. But you act without thinking of reward, without fear. That is rare. Humans, You are extraordinary. Eli looked out the viewport at the stars. He had never thought of himself as extraordinary. He was just a simple engineer, yet in this moment he realized that courage, quick thinking, and heart could change the outcome of events on a galactic scale. The shuttle moved closer to a small, hidden spaceport on the outskirts of the city, a location Lyra had identified as safe. Eli guided them in carefully, touching down on a landing pad shielded from sensors. The shuttle powered down quietly. Lyra stepped out, stretching, relief evident in her posture. You truly are remarkable, Eli. I have underestimated humans. Your courage, intelligence, and ingenuity, they are unmatched. Eli laughed softly. I guess humans can surprise anyone. Lyra nodded. Yes, and I will remember this. I will remember you. As they walked toward a hidden exit, Eli noticed the pendant in his pocket glowing faintly again. Its soft light pulsed with energy as if acknowledging their success. He didn't know why it reacted, but he felt a sense of purpose. Lyra's gaze fell on him, thoughtful. That pendant? There is power in it. You carry something unique, something that will connect our fates further. The galaxy will take notice. Eli smiled faintly, feeling the weight of her words. He didn't fully understand what lay ahead, but one thing was certain: the journey had only just begun. Humans had proven themselves capable of courage and brilliance, even against challenges far beyond their understanding. And in this moment, Eli knew that his actions had made a difference, not just for Lyra, but perhaps for the future of human-alien relations across the stars. The hidden threat of the rogue faction still lingered, but Eli felt ready. Humans adapted, humans acted, and humans, sometimes ordinary humans, could rise to greatness when needed most. And somewhere in the distance, new adventures awaited. As humans and aliens alike began to see the galaxy differently, the hidden spaceport was quiet, shielded from prying eyes and sensors. Eli and Princess Lyra walked among the ships, the stars shining brightly above them. Eli's heart still raced from the adrenaline of their escape, but a calm satisfaction had settled in. They were safe for now. Lyra stopped near a small observation deck and turned to him. You have done more than anyone could have expected, Eli. You have saved my life, outsmarted our enemies, and shown courage beyond measure. Humans, you are truly remarkable, Eli chuckled softly. I didn't do it for praise, I just acted. Lyra's eyes softened. That is exactly why it is remarkable. You did not act for reward, for recognition, or for power. You acted because it was right. That is something my people often overlook. Humans, your strength lies not in technology or status, but in your heart. Eli looked down, feeling the weight of her words. He had never thought of himself as extraordinary, but he understood now. Humans had a unique quality, a spark that could shine even in the darkest corners of the galaxy. Lyra stepped closer. I will ensure that your people are recognized. Earth and its humans have potential far beyond what many imagine. I will speak of your courage, your intelligence, your heart. The galaxy must see that humans are not to be underestimated. Eli's mind raced. Recognition was one thing, but understanding, that was another. Humans often struggled to be seen, their strengths unnoticed. Yet here, in the presence of an alien princess, his actions were finally acknowledged. The pendant in his pocket pulsed again, softly. Eli held it in his hand, feeling its energy. Somehow he knew it had played a role in guiding him, connecting him to Lyra and perhaps even to the path that lay ahead. Lyra studied him. This is only the beginning, Eli. You have proven that humans can face the impossible and succeed. And now I wish to form an alliance, not just for my people, but for yours as well. Together we can share knowledge, technology, and culture. Together we can protect the galaxy. Eli nodded, understanding the gravity of her words. Humans are ready to learn. We're ready to work with you, and I guess we're ready for the adventure. Lyra smiled. Yes, and I will be there, learning from humans as much as you learn from me. You have shown that courage, quick thinking, and heart are not just human qualities. They are universal strengths that can unite worlds. They walked together toward the shuttle that would take them back to a safer region of the port. The rogue faction had been temporarily thwarted, but their influence remained. Eli knew the challenges ahead would test humans even more, but now he understood the truth. Humans were capable of facing dangers, overcoming obstacles, and surprising even the most advanced civilizations. As they lifted off into the stars, Eli looked out at the galaxy stretching endlessly before him. He had started the day as an ordinary engineer. Now he was a hero, one whose actions would ripple across worlds. Lyra glanced at him, her expression thoughtful. Humans are more than you think, Eli, and you have reminded me why they matter. Courage, ingenuity, compassion. These are strengths that can change the course of history. Eli smiled. I guess humans can surprise anyone, she laughed softly. Yes, and I think the galaxy is about to be surprised too. The shuttle sped through space, carrying them toward a new future. A future where humans and aliens could work together, learn from each other, and explore the stars side by side. Eli felt a sense of purpose he had never known, understanding that courage and heart were more powerful than he had ever imagined. And somewhere beyond the stars, others were beginning to notice Earth's humans, not as weak or ordinary, but as a force capable of bravery, ingenuity, and greatness. Eli had risen to the occasion. He had saved a princess, outsmarted an enemy, and proven the extraordinary potential of humans, and this was only the beginning. The galaxy had changed forever. Humans, it seemed, had a place among the stars,